going on, everybody? Welcome to Kale and Cash. It's your host, Cash Money Morgan. It's a beautiful Monday night in the Ozarks. It's kind of misty out. Honestly, it's giving tornado weather. But I'm here for it. If you guys know, I go live during the tornado watches. I'm out here in the streets.
3 signs she belongs to the streets.
Where I belong. I'm just kidding. Wow, what an intro. I'm just playing. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Justin. Woo!
Hey.
Yeah, Justin. There we go. Justin, welcome to the podcast. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
The fit is fire. Can you give us like a sitting on the couch fit check, please?
I was hoping this would happen because I got to shout out my boy. Shout out Jason Trent and his Do Not Fear Death.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He said, I was hoping this would happen. Like, okay, he's in a fashion house. He understands. Well, Justin, welcome to the pod. Is this your first pod? He's like, no, actually, it's my 25th pod.
First, like, real pod.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So the other pods have been fake? Have they been fake, like, fake podcasts or fake people? I'm just kidding. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm feeling spicy, you guys. I'm 25 now. My hair is darker. I'm feeling spicy.
Oh, yeah. You get the whatever they call it that develops.
Frontal lobe lectin. Justin knows. He saw it on Ozarks Live. No. Okay, so this is your first, I guess, quote unquote, real podcast.
Yeah.
I guess the other one was like just a YouTube channel or something, or
no, it was like me and a friend tried to make one time.
Oh, okay. So this is the first time you're being interviewed about something on a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, vibes. Okay, that's so cool. Well, Justin and I met probably like last June. Yeah. I feel like it was almost a year ago. Was it really almost a year? No, was it?
It was like hot outside.
It was so hot.
No, yeah, it would have been like around June.
Because I came straight after church and I was wearing pleather pants, and I remember you guys were talking, and literally I could feel the sweat from my neck go all the way down to my toes, and I was like, they're so nice, but I'm so gross right now. No, but we met then, and then we kind of like just like lost contact, kind of. I mean, follow each other on Instagram and stuff like that, but haven't really seen each other or chatted really since. And then kind of reconnected at the film festival recently, would you say? I mean, you guys, I'm jumping way ahead. But I mean, you guys reached out to me about potentially doing Springstock, but that was Philip, and then I hadn't really seen you until the film festival.
Yeah.
Really? Unless I'd seen you other places and I forgot.
No.
Justin's like, actually, we see each other every single day.
I think I was eating with my homegirl. We're at Gailey's, and then I saw you, and then I was going to talk to you about Springstock, but I knew Phil already did. And then I was like, she probably don't even know me like that. I'm not going to say nothing.
Get out.
And then I saw you at the film.
I'm so bad, though, because if you probably do come up to me, like, when I'm, like, in different places and different locations, I'm literally, like, I can't remember. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I can't place it. And then, I don't know. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm working on my memory. I'm taking supplements. Like, I'm just kidding. Ashwagandha.
The ginseng.
Yeah. Yeah, so we saw each other at the film festival, and then shout out Love Brandon Lucas for being like, gotta get Justin on the podcast. Vibes. I hit the wrong buttons. Anyways, you guys reached out about doing Springstock, which I'm jumping way ahead because we were going to talk about Springstock, but before we do that, we got to learn more about you, and so then you reached out about Springstock, which I want to know too as to, you know, why you guys decided to reach out to me for Keeping Up with Cash. I guess we just talk about that real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes. You know, like an appetizer of the episode, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was crazy because me and Phil were on the same page. Like, I was one to hit you up about Springstock, and then he put in our group chat, he was like, I guess I might want to be at Springstock. It's a podcast. And then I was like, that's crazy, because I was already wanting to invite her, and then he hit you up about it, and then but we both just met you because he was with me when you came to that pop-up at Treasury of the Triumph when we first met.
Shout out to Rakish, bro. Big fans, Whitley. Yeah.
And then so we were just on the same page with that, and then he hit you up, and then you actually came with Springstock, and we were like, sick.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was just like that. So that was really cool. And we're going to dive into really what Springstock is. But before we do that, I feel like the listeners and me, honestly, like, I don't know you on a super deep personal level. I'm getting to know you more. And so that's like cool to see more about you. But yeah, we got to break it down, Justin. Like, who the heck are you, man? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. They call me in my physical form Justin Flowers.
Okay.
Where
did that? I mean, I get it. Hello, Cash. Like, how did Justin Flowers come up? He's like, well, Justin Bieber was taken, so this is like the next big thing, or. It's okay.
That's funny. Yeah. So just like my origin story. Yeah, I went to high school in Waynesville, Missouri, and then I came to Missouri State because the only college I applied to, and they accepted me, and I was like, well,
gotta like that.
Side quest first at OTC, and then I dropped out, and then I went to MSU, and then I just been in Springfield ever since. This is the longest place I've ever lived. I grew up military, so moved around a lot.
Nice. So what were you studying at Missouri State?
Audio production.
Okay.
And I minored in sales.
Period. Okay, so we're a little bit like cut from the same cloth because I majored in communication studies. I minored in youth ministry, but I do sales-ish. So I'd be selling these pod spots. I'm just kidding. But okay, so then when you were in college, really, like, what was your dream? Like, post-college, I want to do this. Like, I wanted
to move to LA and do music. Because at the time I was making music and stuff. And then once I graduated, I was like, LA can wait. I'm chilling for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, LA is crazy expensive. It's just so wild. Like, and we have to even get into it, but like, even all the places like, oh, you want to move here, I'm going to do this. It's like, right now, everything is just so pricey. Like, I'm just trying to save, I don't know. I mean, that's just me. Maybe you just, he's like, well, I have bands in the account.
I need to be
he's
saving.
like, I have a lot of high yield savings accounts. I'm actually investing in crypto. Like,
not no more.
It'd be like that.
I'm in a rebuilding phase with the financials.
Same. Okay, so what are you currently doing now? Like, what do you do for work?
Not even gonna lie, I spent a year
Tell us.
selling insurance. I don't do that no more though.
Tell us the truth. Is it a pyramid scheme or not? I'm just kidding.
Depends on. It's a 50-50.
He's like, it depends on who you sign with.
For real. Mine wasn't though.
That's good.
But now I work for Cody Askins.
Oh, okay.
And I sell marketing services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So what is your long-term dream, I guess, now? I mean, is it still...
I just want to be a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
But, like, I want to do a lot of stuff.
You're going to have to break that down, because when someone says that to me, I think you're trying to have the swords and, like, the thing. No, because one time I was at a job...
You're at a Renaissance fair?
No, I'm not playing, because one time I was at a job, and this guy came all the way from the shop, all the way to my little corporate girl office, and was like, hey... want to be my +1 to the Renaissance Fair this weekend? He's like, I'm gonna fight, and I was like, thank you so much, but I can't even say it. Like,
all right, so I'm gonna explain what that means. It has nothing to do with mead or knights or javelins or horses.
I'm just not into Renaissances. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's
fine. Keep going.
It's a person who's proficient at a multitude of different things in different areas. So like, I enjoy the art, I enjoy like business stuff, and I just never, even when I was a kid, just wanted to like do one thing my entire life. I just want to keep evolving, doing different things successfully. I'm
kind of the same way, to be honest. Like, I don't really understand people that are so used to doing one thing forever. And I think there's a lot of that changing in our culture. Even when people who have jobs, like if you're in one job for 20 years versus someone that hopped a couple of times, that person that hopped could be making so much more money because of raises. So it is crazy how all of that works. But I get you, because when you have all these opportunities to have different elements of yourself and learn different things, like why would you not? Why would you not want to? But yeah, so let's get into Springstock. So right now, you're in marketing services, you're probably hanging out with your friends. Do you do any kind of like art or like stuff like that on the side right now? Like, are you doing anything with like film or music or clothes or...
No, I used to do music. I used to rap and stuff and perform around here, and then I stopped doing that. And then it's been like a few years now, but like lately I've been like flirting with the idea of getting back into music and stuff.
Like the studio's calling.
I was like, the streets need me.
Heard the diss track from like going on right now. He's like, look, let me hop on. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I bought a bass a couple weeks ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm excited to learn that.
Once I have money, I'm gonna get an electric guitar. I'm like left-handed though, but that's just because I'm trying to like I don't know. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I'm just like out here. Like, Justin does not understand. That's okay. That was for the girls, I guess. I told you it's always going to be unhinged. Anyways, so let's get into Springstock now. So you're this creative guy who's also in business. You know, you've tried different things. You've gone through, like, I totally get that, going through different seasons and different stuff. And Springstock. Now, tell us about the origin of Springstock and really what it is.
Yeah, so the origins is, take it back to when I was in Waynesville and I was making music. I was trying to get performances and shows, and I went up to St. Louis a few times and stuff, but I couldn't really make the connections I needed and stuff. And then I was just like, if no one will give me a show, I'll throw my own show.
Yeah.
And if I throw my own show, I can put myself on it.
Boom.
And I was just like, big brain. So me and my homie, shout out to Larry, we just drove around Waynesville and we just asked a bunch of different businesses or theaters and stuff if we could use their place for it. And then they were like, either no or no, but you might ask this place. And then so eventually we got to this church and we asked them, and then they said yeah. And then we're like, oh snap. And then I put up a
Is this
lineup.
in St. Louis or Waynesville?
No, this is Waynesville.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I got a lineup with some other people I knew that made music, and then we threw a show. And then our first show in Waynesville, we had like 100 people.
Wow. Okay.
And so that's how I got into organizing events. And then so once I got to Springfield, after I graduated.
Quick pause. How old were you when you did that then?
I had to be 19.
Dang, that's so impressive as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, 19 or 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's a life lesson right there. It's like, first step is knowing what you want, and that's the main part of it. And then the second part is just continuing to
having the balls to go for it. Yeah.
And then once I organized the show for myself at a place that used to be open, the Grove in Springfield, while I was in school. And then once I got out of college, I started throwing house shows and organizing shows. I threw some shows at the Outland. So I just got more into organizing events for other bands and artists than myself. And then so that's how I got my reputation as far as throwing shows, which ties directly into Springstock when it comes to planning the whole festival. And then so...
Did you ever think like, man, I should do this full time? Like almost giving like a promoter vibe. Like, I should be doing, you're not like an agent, but it's almost like, yeah, organizing festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought about it, and then I was just thinking, I'm like, I have to be pretty consistent with it in order to make it full time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought about it once I graduated.
Yeah.
But
we'll check back in 2 years with you.
Yeah. See. Yeah, and then so it started, what year is it, 2024? Mm-hmm. So it'd be 2023. I was chilling on my couch, and Phil and Vera, who are the other 2/3 of Springstock's planning committee, I was chilling at the crib, and then they FaceTimed me, and then I answered, and then they were like,
Friendship.
what if we... I answered. And then sometimes, depending on who you are, I might let it ring. But
heard.
They were like, what if we...
Is that how Phil talks?
No, they were all like mad suspicious. They were just both like, we got an idea.
Okay.
Hear us out. And then they were like, what if we did like an all-day festival that day? It was like April 1st or something. And then I was just like, why not? And then we just like...
How far in advance was this conversation?
It was like a couple weeks. Like 3 weeks maybe. Or 2.
Before Springstock?
The first one.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Wait.
In 2023.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Like at your house.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was like, what?
And then like we just like everything fell in place. We hit up bands. I hit up this guy I used to work with that like cooked and did food and stuff to like have food for it. And then
I'm so mad that I didn't know you then. Like the way I would have loved to come to this house and like vibe
the
out.
glacier. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then we just planned it, and then we executed it, and it was kind kind of
Did you charge
stressful.
an admission or all or anything? No.
Yeah, it was like $10 that year? It was like 15 or something. That's yeah. So we charged, and then starts remembering, and then it lasted till like 1 something in the morning, which was not what we intended, but.
This was your house, right? So then
Yeah.
you're like, you have to like work at 8 and you're like, okay, can everyone get out of my bedroom? Like,
Yeah. And then at the end of that tiring day, Springstock 2023, our friend was like, we should do it again next year. And then we were just like, Jesus. And then I didn't throw a show again until Springstock of this year. It just drained me. I was like, this is a lot. And then Springstock this year, we started planning in like January, and then we me and Vera talked to Mother's Brewery. We just were there for something one day, and then we talked to them about the idea, and then they were pretty much immediately on board. And then shout out to Josh at Mother's, and then
yeah. Woo!
and then honestly, like, our planning didn't go well.
And shout out to Andy for letting me use all their stuff. Woo!
Yeah, we secured the location, and then we were like, sick, it's at Mother's. And then like the first year, like everything, even though we did it in less time, was just like falling into place. Our life was just lifing on us, and then we were just slow. I was doing a sucky job GMing the project.
This year?
Yeah, this year, yeah, garbage. Execution garbage. And then we're just slow with the deadlines. Everything was slow, getting promo out, locking in the bands, everything. I was like, why is this so much worse this time? I was like, and I was stressed. I was like, this needs to go well. We have an actual business. This isn't just like my house this time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be embarrassed. And then, you were there though. It turned out perfectly though. It turned out
it
way
was
better.
awesome. I mean, I didn't like feel like anything went wrong. That's how I felt.
No, the day of, like,
Yeah.
it was perfect. Like, I wasn't stressed at all.
It
It
was
all went-
windy, but it was funny
Oh,
to
yeah.
me. Like, shout out to Mothers and like Andy, and shout out to God for like letting me have a tent that had great stakes in the ground. Some of these tents out here, and everyone was like, don't get one just like straight out of Walmart. Like, don't do it. And some of these tents were just like flying high in the sky. And it was like, in the arms of
That's
an
real.
angel. I'm like, it's like, dang, that sucks. Do you guys need help? I'm like, Dang.
Yeah. And I guess what else do you want to hear?
So, I mean, Springstock, obviously, it's like this all day. For people who don't know what Springstock is,
yeah, I
it
could've
really
said
is.
what that was, yeah.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's like an all day musical festival. I mean, how many bands and artists did you guys have in total?
I had
And
about like 24 total, 23 total.
it was
acts.
only one day event. And then in total, how many people were there? Like, did you guys get a count of
Throughout the
like,
day, it was like 500 plus people.
wow, okay, that's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so did you get to enjoy the event at all that day, or were you really just in that GM mode? Like,
I enjoyed it a
everywhere?
lot because I was in a lot. GMO didn't hit as hard as I thought it was going to be because everything was just going really well. So I got to do what I know I needed to do, make sure everything was straight, but also got to enjoy the event a bit. I also performed with the Shinigami Bros. I have a couple songs with them.
Okay, pop
And
up,
so I
yeah.
took a little moment, did that. And then our evening and like nighttime volunteers just flaked on us. So I ended up working the gate for like 2.5, 3 hours. But like it needed to be done. I was in
Yeah.
the trenches. But it was fun though.
Yeah. So how did you guys? Let's break down. Like, even my last solo pod, we talked like nitty gritty of starting a business and stuff like that. And so, getting volunteers. Did you have to get any kind of like permits for anything? I mean, like, walk us through like even the price of the tickets. Like, how did you guys come up with all of these like hard numbers and stuff like that?
Yeah. So start off, you need you or some other people that are interested in executing an event with you and planning. And as far as numbers and tickets go, I've thrown shows for like before, so I kind of knew what to do with that a bit. But this year we raised it. We were like saying like $15 pre-sale, and then we're gonna like do $20 at the door. And then Vera was like, no, 25. And we're like, 25?
Right.
That's that's a lot. And then she's like, no, guys, we should be 25. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So we did 25 this year. And then so I guess as far as like, we're just basing the numbers off what people will pay and then also like value. And then so from there, the permits, Josh at Mother's handled it this time. When I'm not gonna lie, at my house I don't be getting permits, but I don't ask.
That's why it's at a house. Like,
And then, but Josh, he handled the permits as far as having vendors and then other things. He handled that whole side of that, and then yeah. So I base it like typically as far as when I'm just throwing an event, paying the bands. You can do it a multitude of ways. When it's like smaller scale, like pay them, or you can give them some of the ticket sales, and you guys will share that cut and things like that. And then as far as this one, it worked out to where we didn't really have any upfront costs to Mother's, the venue.
that's cool.
It was kind of just like, if it does well, you don't owe us any money. If it doesn't go well, you'll owe us some money. And,
Dang.
but that was a good deal, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an amazing deal. So what was the hardest part of really like planning all of this and being in it? And what was maybe like the most rewarding part or the most like memorable part that you really were like, this is a core memory at Springstock? Like.
Yeah, so the hardest part was just the mental aspect of just like, I should be doing more, but I'm not right now. Like, we could be doing this better and that better in the planning process. And then it was just really from the aspect of promotion wise and just getting things locked in, just like all the bands that happened really slowly. And then felt like our promotion was lacking and things like that, like getting the word out. And so that was the hardest part, because I was staring at us with 7 pre-sale tickets and I was like, we can't go out like this. We gotta do something. And then, so that was the hardest part, but God came through. Yeah. And then the day of, like, the best part was I was just chilling and I was looking like at the field and there's a bunch of people there and there was like parents. There's this dad like playing like kick with his kids. And then I was just like, this is beautiful. Yeah. And I was just like, everything was running smoothly. And I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it really was cool that people they're coming to my booth and they're like making friendship bracelets. And then they're at this booth and they're, just chatting. They're at this booth and they're playing catch. Like, it was a really beautiful, just like fun time of meeting people and hanging out and making new friends. And I was surprised that like some of the vendors and artists were from St. Louis and Arkansas and stuff like that. And so when it came to networking and like, okay, we need to get 25 artists, right? We need to get like all these vendors. Like, how did that look? How did you, Vera and Philip, really, what did that look like for you guys?
So I kind of have like my go-to ones from like the years and stuff, just like bands and artists that have like always messed with us or showed me love and stuff like that. So we hit them up, and I really wanted Springstock to be mostly just like local bands. Yeah. Because it's Springstock. And right. So we just hit them up, and then Vera knew some out-of-town ones that she'd known of, and then hit them up. And then Phil also brought down some people that he's cool with from from St. Louis. Yeah. And then Vera knew some people from Kansas City that we brought down as well. But as far as hitting them up, it's pretty easy. You just hit them up and then you ask them if they're available and just tell them a little bit about the event. And they either say no, they have another show to do, or if a band member can't make it or something like that. And then for the most part, it's pretty easy and straightforward.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I think it's just awesome because it's a big example of just really going for it. And I know like with the podcast too, I've been doing it for like a little over 2 years, and it's like there's still things where I'm like, this needs to be better. This has to get better. And that's just the growing process. But like the fact that you went from a house to an event with like 500 people is wild. But it's also big to know like it takes a team. It's okay to not be amazing at everything. That's why like other people were created with amazing talents where we can like help one another. Exactly. And so it's really cool that you have that community, and I loved just like being surrounded by so much amazing art. So the question of the hour, like, will there be a Springstock 2025?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. While we were planning this one, we were like, "Ain't no more Springstock. We're done. This is too much."
For real, like
we were tapped out. And then as like it started going, like getting closer, me and Phil were talking because I was like, I'll just let go and let God. It doesn't matter. Everyone who loves me still is gonna love me even if this flops. And then me and Phil were talking about it, and we're like, we'll do another one. And then the day of, everyone was like, next year. That's
how it goes.
And then Mothers was like, next year. And then Vera was like, yeah, next year. So it probably will be a Springstock 25.
But low key, it like adds so much pressure. Like when I had my first podcast party, because I was just like, we need to have a good networking event. I need to like show myself and like blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's like, well, next year. And I'm sitting here like, do you know how much like mental capacity and like funds this took for this year? And then the next one, I planned it like the month before. And I was like, But now it's just kind of like, as long as the podcast is still cooking, so am I. So, I mean, I'm sure like Springstock is long. Did you have any like flack at all about people being like, I wish it was still in the house? Like,
no, like I had multiple different people come up to me and then they would just like look around and then look at me and like, dude, this was in your house last year and I was there. Now it's like all of this. And then one of them was like, it's sad because like, I miss that like kind of humble small beginnings and stuff, but at the same time it's great because more people are experiencing it and the word's getting out and it's really good that it's growing. So it's like bittersweet.
Like vintage clothes vendors at your house too when you did it?
No, we had a lot more vendors this year.
Which was cool. Like that was, I mean, like there was a lot of diverse like vendors and I'm like sitting here like, wow, I didn't even like, this is cool and this is cool. I'm buying this. Like I spent, and you know, what little money I have.
Yeah, the vendors said they made good money, so I was like, heck yeah.
That's good. So switching gears a little bit to some fun girly pop questions because this is Keeping Up with Cash and we are intrusive. Justin, a couple of little rapid fire things. What would you say is like your favorite artist or like genre to listen to? And it doesn't have to be like crazy deep, you know, but someone that you're like, man, I could listen to this all the time. It's almost like maybe like a safe space, like a music, you know what I'm saying? Like it just feels like home, like you're like The Office is like your comfort show, right? It's mine. Yeah. So it's like, what would be that for you music wise?
I like indie music. I like Gus Dapperton. Also, I've been on a Chris Stapleton little binge right now.
Okay.
And so is Whaley.
All right, little country. Okay.
Yeah, it's growing on me a little bit.
You're gonna say? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's like, no. That would be cool though if there was almost like a country, like indie kind of like intertwined song or artist. There probably is. Like,
there probably is that. We just
don't
know about
who
it yet.
Is. Yeah. Okay. Dating life, and of course you can only go as deep as you want or anything like that. You know, we're very safe space here. Currently relationship status, single, relationship, married, complicated. What box are you in?
Not complicated. I'm single. I've been single for quite some time now. Many seasons.
That's okay. We're all out here. So, but what's your type though? I mean, throw it out in the pod. You know, we got quite a bit of female Apple listeners. Yeah.
I've kind of like after my last relationship switched gears and I'm just kind of want someone who a woman who believes in God. Yeah. So, you know.
It's good. Sometimes like it's so crazy how you can like say that out loud and that's like so hard to achieve. You know, like by just saying like you want someone who's a Christian, it like eliminates like 50% of people. You know how wild that is? But also it's like don't settle. You know, because I can't imagine like being so like intimate and close with someone like emotionally and like not having that same mindset.
Yeah, if I can't share like what is like one of the most intimate parts of me or deepest parts of me that I care about the most, like which is God, then like I don't know how I can have that level of relationship with you truly.
Yeah, 100%. I know you're not really into sports as much anymore, but do you have like a favorite football team or like player that it could be like athletic ability or even like their style off the game, off the court or field, pitch, whatever it may be for you.
Chicago Bears, my football team. I'm from Illinois originally. I don't talk about it often because of this. This is why I don't say nothing. I just... I'm sorry. That's a joke.
Sorry. That's sorry.
Yeah. As far as player, Yeah, I'm gonna turn it back to Formula One. That's motorsport. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm into. Formula One racing.
Let's get into it a little bit, because before the pod we were just chatting about it, and you were telling me that you were into go-kart racing a lot.
Yeah.
Talk about it. How'd you get into that? What does that look like for you? You got a jersey? I don't know. Talk your talk.
Yeah, no, I've been wanting to do it. I went to Gateway Cartplex this weekend up close to St. Louis. And then, because they have the fast go-karts and not the like indoor electric ones like Gateway. It's actually an IndyCar and NASCAR track. And they just have like a go-kart track inside of it.
That's awesome.
And then I went there. It was a lot harder than I thought it was. I was spinning out, hitting the barriers and stuff. I was the slowest of my two other friends.
The self-awareness is insane. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm on this pod. I don't even have to admit that. But yeah, something I definitely want to do more of. I wish they had a place to do it around here.
I know. Since you go-kart a lot and stuff like that, are you like a pretty good driver or... No.
I think I'm a good driver.
Because I'm like killer at bumper cars, and you can tell because of my own car. Like,
Nah, I like a couple months ago, I made a very unthought out maneuver and I got in a car accident. Dang. It was cool though. They were like, it was completely my fault. And they were just like, it's cool, bro. Stuff happens. And then like no insurance or anything. And I was like,
no
fire.
Insurance?
Yeah, they were just like, stuff happens, bro.
Was it a nice car? Like they have a nice car?
No, my car was nicer.
Dang, maybe that's why they were like, this dude's already having a bad day.
They spared me.
That's wild. All right, so to transition a little bit back to something a little bit deeper, on the podcast, you keep it really real. A lot, different struggles that people go through and different things that often tie into their passions. Obviously, you're very passionate about people and art. Is there anything that you struggled with that maybe you'd be like willing to share, or you feel like kind of helps fuel this passion that you have, or like drives it in any way?
Yeah, so I guess a big struggle I used to have was like self-esteem and identity, and then God just kind of placed people around me over the past like couple 2 years that have really just like, by me being just around them and them being in my life has really helped me with my own self-esteem and confidence, and just going out and doing different things or dancing or like how I dress, and then being a lot calmer and confident in social settings and talking to people. And then also just my relationship with God itself, because I used to be like super depressed for a while, like while I was in school. Was it like, I don't know, like 2018, 2019, 2020.
I was depressed then too.
I was like, it was a good stint. Like it was a good stint of just straight depression.
Dang.
And
year over year is crazy too. I mean, not like crazy. I mean, like saying that in the sense of like, that is hard to go like, I've had like depressive dark seasons, but like if you're consistently depressed for like 3 years, that is very, very hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were saying, but if it
No, it is hard. Okay. No, it was a struggle. It was hard.
I'm so bad. I try to find humor and everything, but also I'm like, this is like not funny. It's like so not funny. I'm laughing because I don't know how to act. Like,
you're like, he was sad.
Yeah. I need help. No, it's okay. Okay, fine. Back to you. Back to you. So you're depressed. Okay.
But yeah, I was depressed, and then I was also kind of like as far as my relationship with God, like pretty far away at the time. And then I was just like, man, this is rock bottom. What's up, God? And then he's really over time like led me out of depression and taught me what it means to be with yourself and not alone. And then him, and then also the people he's brought into my life. I'd say that was a struggle I had. And then with my art and even like events in my mind, I think that like there's people who have things they're going through, and I don't meet everybody at my events. I don't know everybody or what everyone's going through, but I'd like to think it could be a place where they can not have that on their mind at the time and enjoy themselves.
That's good. And I think it's also a place where I think you and I were briefly talking as well, as sometimes it feels like there's two big extremes, whether you're super Christian or you're super non-Christian, and you really can't live in a world where you can be friends with each other. And I hate that stigma. I'm someone that is very Christian, and I also love all people, and it's like I love art. And so an event like that is great for me to like make friends outside of my circle, for me to grow in arts, meet new people, have great conversation. And if we don't have events like that, if we don't have a place where all are welcome, whether you love Jesus or you don't love Jesus, it's like, how are we supposed to grow and help one another and, love on people? And so I think you play a huge part in creating an atmosphere that is just joyful,
Thank you.
No, that was awesome. And I think what you said too about your rock bottom, like everyone has their own story. I definitely have a similar story to you, but it's fascinating how God sometimes will let you absolutely break, right? And in those moments we're like, where are you? You're not here. You're not real because I'm broke. But it's like, he's like, but you got to break so I can build you back up. You know? And so it's crazy how when you're talking about like, my circle's so good now, like I'm doing so well now, but we remember who we were a few years ago when it was like, you were just begging for a good day, you know? And it makes you appreciate like your circle and your boundaries and things, and also like how far you've come. And it's like every day you grow a little bit more. Till all of a sudden now we're here and we're like, I'm feeling good. I'm having a great day. But I remember how I was 3 years ago. Like,
yeah, that's so true. I mean, like people say it does get better, which it does, but
it takes a lot of work though.
Yeah.
And time. Like,
it takes a lot of time.
I think God heals all wounds, but like so does time. I mean, like they both work together, right? But it also takes that work where like if you don't put the work in like in therapy or get your mind right, get your heart right, like get your body right, like whatever it may be, it's not going to fix itself. Like you could still be mentally like not doing well 6 years later because you never dealt with it. You just hit it, and I don't know. So sorry. Brent was too. I'm just kidding.
Bars.
He's like, preaching me on your next track. I'm just playing. Well, speaking about, God, it's cool. Like, just hearing like your story with that. And obviously I just released a solo pod kind of talking about like what God's been doing in my life. And so if you want to share anything, like what would you say God's really just been like speaking to you in this current season or like just doing right now in your life?
I felt like just like past month, he just like been very like gentle with me as far as like he's been like blessing me, and then I felt like I haven't been like prioritizing God as much, and then it was just like him being kind and just be like, focus on me, and I was like, thank you for having so much patience with me.
That's
and
good.
So really just that, and then just being more consistent with prioritizing him, because I look at it like a relationship as far as with other people, and intentionally prioritizing him and just what are my actions showing him, and then try not to, I don't know, I feel weird because I'd be wanting them blessings, you know what I'm saying, and I'm like, am I being greedy? Am I
not
bad?
Weird. You're not weird.
I'm like, but he also like draws you in with that, and then so I just been focused on that.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. And I have an accountability partner because I have a hard time like being accountable. and those is like we're talking about whatnot, but we chatted like literally the other day, and it was just random because she's like, Morgan, you're deep in your faith where like, the enemy is not going to sway you to like get rid of God. She was like, but the enemy can sway you into things that you're good at sitting at. She's like, if I'm good at being petty, if I'm good at gossiping, if I'm good at sometimes getting angry, and then like the enemy can creep in and like use that, she's like, that's what's going on. She's like, so you got to be on top of those itty bitty like nitty gritty little things and forgive people and like hold your, like when you start seeing yourself being petty or when you start seeing yourself doing, like stop it. And I'm like, why is that so hard? I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, that was my TED Talk. Justin's like, I'm just like, what is?
No, I'm with you. I feel you.
No, but I get like it's so frustrating sometimes, like being a Christian, but also I can't imagine what my purpose would be without God. So I don't really, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's so hard denying like your desires and things for a greater purpose, but then also being like, okay, like. With you, I have everything, you know?
No, yeah, I had an experience a few weeks ago where it was just like, if it was me like a couple years ago, this would have been like what I wanted, or for my ego and stuff like that. And then I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, man, this fulfills me none.
Dang.
And I was just like, a few years ago, it would have been everything, but just like, it was just like kind of empty because I just like had an amazing week, and I was just like, I'm not depressed, but like this is empty, and God was just like, only I can fulfill you
in
the way that you need. And I was just like, yeah, you're right, bro.
Dang.
Let me lock back in.
Yeah. Like, that's so good, Justin. And I think that's so hard for people to actually like openly say, is it's it's not like you could have like 10,000 listeners to a podcast, right? But it's like the person that messages me that will be like, hey, I've really been struggling with this. And because you talked about this and God and blah, 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 like I'm going to go to church or whatever. Like that's what it's like. That's what it's about, right? You know, and that's what it's like. This is what we go on here and do for or whatnot and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. So now going back to something fun. This roller coaster of emotions. It's all fun. It's all good vibes. So obviously you're fitted up. We obviously did a fit check. You know, in your life, can you talk about like fashion inspirations and where you get, because I'm a girly pop, right? And what the girls do is we watch the shows. We're on the Pinterest. You know, we look at the celebrities, which I know guys kind of do the same thing with like athletes or like musicians. Pinterest too. You know, like where do you get a lot of your inspo from?
My inspo, origin story, I come from what people would call having no swag. And
like, I'm sorry, like, is it like in your family or like is it like generational or what?
No, I remember one time, like, I don't know, people like middle school, they were like, you have no drip, you have no swag. And then one time my mom was basically like, you have no swag. What? And then I was sitting there and I was like, you bought my clothes. Like, what's this? But like
he's like, I have fashion trauma. Like, what? Oh my God.
Maybe low key.
He's like, I need to go to the Met. Like, I need to watch Gossip Girl. Like,
but no, I really like my homie Jason's brand, Do Not Fear Death, and then I like Tommy Hill. I like Guess, and then recently just the people I be around. They be like, shout out to Acacia and Algie. She be into that. Woo! She be into that fashion, and also Vera. They just be dripped up, and everybody I know just be like, yeah, and I'm just like, if I'm around them, like that's just been rubbing off on me, and it's been fun getting more expressive with clothes and things like that. As far as inspiration, I don't know. I'm about to have my clothing plug. Hit me up with some 60s or 80s fashion.
You're gonna gatekeep this plug or what?
I'm not. He's gonna be out for everybody, but he told me when he gave me insider information.
He said, I know you're going on this pod. It's not a fake pod, it's a real pod. You don't do it yet. Okay.
Yeah, and I also have a deep down urge to buy some cowboy boots, but I'm saving up for the Tacovas.
Okay. I'm going to say a bad story, but like, not a bad story, but like one time in high school, I liked this boy so much. I asked my parents for cowboy boots for my birthday, and they were like buckle boots. So it was like $250 pair of shoes. I think it was like my Sweet 16.
They were like for you?
Yes. No, they're for me. Oh my gosh, I was not going to give them to a guy. But also like, what on earth was I doing with that expensive of cowboy boots for a crush? Like, oh my gosh, I mean, they're in my closet right now. They're still slay. They're still slay, but like, girls are crazy. Thank God the frontal lobe is locked in. Like, thank God. 25 is so slay because all the things where you're like, why hasn't he? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
if I get the shoes, he'll love me.
Because how old are you, Jess? I didn't even ask you.
I'm 25.
So you're locked in too?
Yeah. I've been feeling the development. I'm just like, is it? I'm like, decisions seem to make a lot more sense.
It's the craziest thing. It probably sounds so dumb, but like 24, I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, and 25, I'm like, it'll be okay. Like, what? Like, Okay, yeah, but I'm a big cowboy. I'm like actually not country at all. I do like some country music.
I'm not country either.
I would definitely go to like a festival, but I would be like in like emo punk country.
Like the backstory to it is
like
I grew
country.
up and my dad and his dad and my mom's dad, like so both my grandpas and my dad, growing up they just watch Western movies and just like the old like black and white ones, old movies like where actors started first acting in movies, like had sound, would watch those all the time, and then so I just have like an affinity for like cowboys and stuff like that. And also, they just look hard. Like in the fit, they old Western ones. They just look hard.
So you're telling me you're gonna have a cowboy summer? Is what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna be mixed in there.
We support you. Get the boots, bro. We support you. I have cowboy boots, and I do not like riding horses or anything like that. But I don't care. Like vibes are vibes.
Exactly.
So I'm like a stagecoach cowgirl kind of thing, you know? Like. Very cool. Very cool. Well, going into like advice, I would say, you know, whether it's someone wanting to start an event like Springstock or, you know, even, you know, spiritually, there's so much to tackle there where I don't know. I feel like you've gone through a lot. We're both 25. We're out here in our careers, but we also feel like so young still. Like the fact that I feel like I know so much and nothing at the same time. So.
Yeah, that's the beauty of knowledge. It's like infinite.
Yeah.
The more you get to know, the more you learn that you know a whole lot less.
Like the frontal lobe is locked in, so like emotionally we're better, but also we're like, oh no, because all the Gen Z, like me being like slay, period, like that's all locked in. Like
You said that's forever.
that's forever. My boss was like, ooh. Okay. No, I'm playing, but okay. So spiritual advice for anyone going through a long-term depressive state, like maybe where you were at, and they're feeling like every day's a struggle. I don't even know if I like being alive. Like all the deep things, the hard things, like I guess advice for someone that's in it, as they're trying to maybe navigate God in that situation. And then also Springstock, something like it is so scary trying to go out and do something. Even when the podcast first started, it's like keeping up with cash. Like, is everyone going to find that cringy? Is everyone going to find the podcast cringy? Like first episodes, I was so scared to release because it's like, it's so vulnerable. Yeah. And like, what if people hate this and I get canceled? No, I'm like, whatever. But, so talking about like mentally advice for starting something like that.
Yeah. So start off with the
spiritual one.
The spiritual one. Okay.
It's like Morgan said like a whole paragraph and now I'm supposed to talk like.
Yeah. So as far as like for those going through a hard time mentally, I don't think that everyone who has depression and whatnot necessarily needs medicine. Of course, listen to your doctors and stuff like that. But I find like seems the more so than not. For me, what I did was I tried to use just like secular things or the world to like fulfill that, but the more you get fulfilled by that, the more depressed you get because what you tried to use to fulfill you didn't actually fulfill you, and now you're even more depressed because now it didn't work and now you're back to the drawing board. But once I started in like 2020, just started focusing and pressing in to God and fasting, because at times like that it doesn't feel like He is near you, and once you get out of that, you see that He was with you the entire time through it, even if you didn't realize it. So I just say to pray, to ask God to renew your mind, to ask God to to just show you, renew your mind, show you just the positive things, because it's just ends up being a thing where it's not even instantaneous. It's just like you look back and you're like, He really took me out of all of that, and I didn't even like realize it, and it just takes time.
That's so good. And even like, I don't think there's gonna ever be a point in life where we're, oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Clip that, CJ. I don't think there's ever gonna be a point in life where we will feel adequate. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe in our faith to be a leader. And I know for me, like all of a sudden I could see God like chip away things at me, where all of a sudden I woke up one day and I'm like, oh, I'm serving at church and I have a small group where I lead like 8 girls every other Friday. But what's crazy is like I still don't feel adequate to even lead it. Like,
and that's the thing. Throughout the Bible and throughout like life, you see a lot of the good leaders are not the people who are like, pick me, pick me, pick me. He's always grabbing somebody who is inadequate, and then that's who he is like great, because they'll see I'm working through them, because without me they wouldn't be able to do it. And I just like notice that as well myself. I'm just like, I'm not trying to lead, but it's usually never the person who is trying to lead up front.
Right. And I think that's what's probably like so big in our lives, is we're people that we're like, okay, God, we're surrendering to you, like use us. And so we do these things like this podcast or the Springstock. People are probably like, Morgan and Justin, like they're just so confident they're out here. And we're both like, oh my, we're like throwing up in the bathroom, like, please don't fail like the podcast party. I was like in the middle of my like show thinking like, is this the cringiest thing I've ever done? Like, people just don't know, and we're I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But when God says go, you gotta go, bro. Like that's what, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So in terms of Springstock, what would be your advice for someone who's like, man, I want to do this for myself, but I wouldn't even know where to start? Like,
yeah, if you want to throw shows or a festival, which is just one really big, long show, what I recommend is Step 1, find some artists who would be down.
Step two, get swag.
You can do this before you have swag, or you can just drop some swag. Step 2, you need a venue, whether it's an actual venue or like a place you can use. I've seen people use garages. And then step 3, either spread the word and sell tickets if you're trying to make some money on it or get people paid, or if you're not, then just still spread the word and just let people know where the location is and whatnot. And then it's really that simple. How many people come, who knows, many factors, but it's really that simple because we're just like not super intelligent and 19, and we just went around just asking people, and asking you shall receive, and even through a bunch of rejections, eventually someone said yes. And most of the time in life, you only need one yes.
That's right. And that goes for literally anything. That goes for jobs. That goes for podcast interviews, artists. It goes for dating. It's like, shoot your shot and go for it. I mean, that's what, when I first started the podcast, my biggest mentors now, I was reaching out on LinkedIn and being like, hey, will you be on? And people said no to me. And I'm like, okay, bye. Because it's like, I know where I'm going. So either you see that or you don't. And that's okay if you don't. And I will forgive you. And I'm going to be so good at forgiving. Out here. But yeah, no, that's so good, Justin. That's so good. Well, I appreciate you so much on the podcast, for real. And before we get into, plug in all your links and everything like that, we end every podcast the same, favorite song, favorite quote, and what do you want your legacy to be? It doesn't have to be crazy, massive, deep, or it can. You could have it all tatted on your body. It could be like literally just everything you came up with right now. The vibes are good either way. So.
Yeah. All right. I don't remember all the questions. I know. I got his first one's Chris Stapleton. I think I'm in love with you. That's my jam right now.
All right.
Quote. I can't. It's either Galatians or Romans, but I'm gonna do two quotes.
Okay.
It was like, don't get tired of doing what is good, for at the right time you'll reap your harvest. And the second one is Matthew 7:7 NLT. Keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you.
That's good.
And then what's the third thing?
What you want your legacy to be.
Oh, my legacy.
So when you're gone, Justin Flowers is in the heavens, and you have like a, really cute little gravestone. When people are like, Justin Flowers, remember that guy? Like, what do you want to be remembered as? Yeah,
I hope that, I feel like we're all going to die and all be forgotten. So my legacy, I don't care too much about being remembered, but I hope that my actions and the way I carried myself and the impact I had on people will have been positive on them. And then from the way I interacted with them, they will be positive on other people and just kind of have a ripple effect throughout time, even after I'm forgotten.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, really good. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Justin, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
Cash Money Morgan.
I'm just kidding. So where can people find you if they ever want to ask you a question or collab or anything? Instagram, you got the SoundCloud, or I don't know. Don't look at my SoundCloud. You got a Patreon stream. I don't know.
Cash App isn't kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
You can
Hashtag Cash Money Morg. Buy some merch.
You can find me on Justin Flowers Official on Instagram. That's where you can keep up with my shenanigans. That's where I post the most.
Good stuff. Well, thanks again, Justin, for coming on the pod. And to my listeners, listen to the solo pod. Lots of fun things coming this summer. Right. I am trying to have a pop-up here soon. Details coming out at some point. But yeah, make sure you come, buy the merch, message me on Instagram, and always remember to live, laugh, love, and keep on
live, laugh, love.
Keeping up with cash. Okay.